Okay, welcome. So I'm here. I'm going to do a quick introduction of IfWriter with a little bit of a tutorial on how to use it as requested. So I'm just going to pop open IfWriter here, and there it is. As I've said before, this is alpha software, so there's definitely areas that I want to improve on it, and perhaps I'll talk a little bit about what I want to do with it as we go through. So here is just kind of the splash page of IfWriter. We have the introduction to the section text here. And we have our options up here at the top. You just saw you're able to resize as needed. You can minimize and maximize. I'm just going to maximize for now, just so we can see kind of what's going on. I'll minimize to show you a few features. This kind of goes into one of the things that I'd like to do. Eventually, I'd like to have sliders in on this area up here, right here, just so you can resize each of these sections. It works well now. I'd rather have a larger area for connections than section text. And I like the story map size, but I could understand why people would want to resize those. So up here at the top, we have a few options. I'll just go over the options first. I have an autosave here. It's enabled by default, and the autosave frequency is every 5 minutes. Your project will autosave. It won't autosave at the moment if you haven't saved your file. It'll come up with an error to say that you need to save your file in order for that to happen, which is a good reminder. Again, eventually I'll want it to have a special file for auto saving. We also have font options here. We can set up a serif font if that's more comfortable for you. Large sans serifs or large serif fonts. Depending on comfort level. I'll leave it on large right now, just so it's a little bit easier to see in the video. And again, as alpha software, there's a lot more options I'd eventually like to have in here. We'll go over export later. That quick save does the exact same thing that our autosave does if you click it. And then save is more of a save as feature, and I may just change this to save as. If we click new, we're going to get a warning here. I thought this was really important. Just I don't want anyone to accidentally delete everything. And at the moment, without a special feature for the auto saving or anything like that, I don't want anything to get removed because you accidentally clicked the wrong button. I'm going to click new here, and we can see it just starts you off on page 1. Right now, page 1 is not titled, but if I type in page 1 here, it'll pop up in our story map. And so whatever is typed in the section title will go here in our story map. You can let me create a new page by I'm going to click go to new section here. I could say page 2 or something like that. Go to new section, and it's going to show new page. You'll notice that anything after page 1 has a little X after it. That means you can delete that page. If I delete it, it's just going to revert this back. And you can't delete page 1 because you, of course, need at least one page in your document. Again, I can do go to a new page. Another thing that I can do here is if I have another section and say I wanted this to go to the exact same page, I can click connect to existing section, and this is going to give me an option of all the pages that I have. I'll show you in a second with a longer document. We also have disconnect if, say, you connected to the wrong section or something like that, or you accidentally click connect to new section and you wanted it to actually connect to existing section. you could click disconnect there, and then you can always remove these by pressing the X. We're able to save if you click save. You're able to save into various areas. Here's a few things that I've done. One of the things okay, so if I just save test like that, it's going to save with this IfWriter. That's just our IfWriter extension. It's just a JSON file, but I wanted to make sure that it was obvious which files were for IfWriter instead of just for something else. So I'm just using this file extension right now. Okay, so let's open one of these. I have this in my saves, and here's something that I just threw together today. So this is a little bit of a larger project. So let me minimize this real quick so we can see what's going on. So you can see here, as I resize this, especially with longer stuff, scroll bars will pop up, and a scroll bar will pop up in the story map. Let me just test with new connection here. So if I say I wanted to connect something new, I could say connect to existing section. And this is going to give me a list of all my pages. These are set up by page number, and it tells you that the title there, and just click connect as we saw already. And of course you can click X to get rid of any of these. Let me get rid of that. So this right here, this go to connected section, also allows you to kind of browse through and test out how your game or your story is going. Okay, so you can do new connection. When you click connect a new section here, it's going to give you a new page. And I can go to this real quick. So your new page is just going to be titled new page down here in your story map. And I find that gives me a good idea of where I need to write. And of course, we can just get rid of those by clicking X. Otherwise, you kind of have to browse through these. So like, yeah, I don't think I have anything that I haven't filled out yet, but some of these don't have connections or anything. So both of them don't, as far as I know. Go to new camp. Yeah, go to connected section. So some of these don't have text. Like I said, I threw this together. The rest of these connect with each other at the moment. So we just have enter the camp and your new clothes don't go anywhere at the moment. So it's those just sort of end it. One of the things that I found just through building this is that it would be nice to be able to see what pages connect to this page, just so I could go back and see what's written there. I am currently storing that information. It's just not available right at the moment. So yeah, this may be added in a future version where you have references, like a references menu, maybe at the bottom or somewhere around here, to reference back, so you can see what references that specific page. So let's also look at the export option here. So the export here is, I'm just going to click export, and it's going to ask me where I want to save it. I'm just going to put it in saves. I'm going to call it the jungle. Okay. Leave no spaces in there, and then it should save it automatically as HTML. Should be the only thing that you can save it as. And let me just click OK. It says export successful, so it has gone through and exported. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So here we are in the saves area, and if I look at here, here's my HTML. I can pop this thing open and take a look at it. And here's where this is one of the things that I really wanted to get out of IfWriter is it randomizes everything after page 1. So page 1 is always going to be page 1 no matter what, but then every page after that, no matter what order you see it in here on the story map, it's going to randomize, and it'll be different every time you randomize it. Again, one of the options I might want to add later is to just put it in the same order that it's here in the story map. But I felt like this was important. You know, you like turn to page 11, turn to page 20, turn to page 10. And I have this set up that you can have it say something other than turn to page eventually. Again, it's not a feature currently there, but it is planned. And so you can see, examine yourself, turn to page 11. So now we can come down to page 11. 11 is an unusual body. You sit up and look down at yourself, staring at your feet, moving upward, and so on and so forth. In the story map here, an unusual body is page 2. So that's where it randomizes these things. In order to make more of that sort of, you could call it the choose your own adventure or interactive fiction that's like a print version. One of the benefits of this in HTML, it looks kind of ugly right now, but specifically I made this to be able to pull this into Word. So I've popped into Word right here, and I'm just going to open that document in Word. So what Word has done here is it has opened this document in Word, and we can see here that all of those headings have been imported. So our page numbers are heading 1, the page titles are heading 2, and the turn to page sections are heading 3. And so this is something where if you wanted to make adjustments to these headings, then you could do so. And so this was one of the things that I thought would be kind of important. So say you wanted heading 1 to be, a different, let's say it should be a different size, and maybe I want all my heading 1s underlined, and I want it instead of Times New Roman, I want it in, I don't know, irony, sure. Let's make it bigger. Okay. So what I could then do is come into here and say update heading, and now all my headings are the same size. And this is going to populate across the entire document. Some of this formatting from the export is, I may not want these additional spaces and stuff on here. And that's something that I'll need to adjust. And I'll probably make options. But one of the things I will say is that as far as documents go in IfWriter right now, the saved IfWR files, I don't plan on changing any of that formatting. Regardless of any work that's done right now, moving forward in future versions, anything that's written in here should be able to move forward into future versions. New versions will just be more feature rich. And then here in Word or whatever word processor, OpenOffice, whatever you want to use, this is where you could make your adjustments. So, in Inferno faux that's intended to say of. This is where you could do all your copywriting and things like that. Again, Alpha software, I would eventually like to have these linked to other sections of the text. And that way, so when if you were to export this to like an ebook or something like that, then the ebook could automatically move the reader around. But again, future versions. So far it's worked pretty well for me. Like I said, I have noticed a couple crashes, couple issues. I have been working with those. If I can't immediately fix the crash, I've made a note of it to figure out what's going on. It's, again, it is alpha software, but like I said, I was able to throw together a pretty decent 20-page story here relatively quickly. Just limited by the speed at which I could write, which is really the point of IfWriter. Is I didn't want it to be cumbersome as far as needing to learn coding language or needing to organize boxes around something. I wanted it to be able you just sit down, click connections, create new pages, and then it automatically does everything else for you. So it really focuses on, it's all about the writing. And like I said, there are a few of the things that I want to have in it's saved. That's the autosave feature there. So a few of the features that I want to have in the future are just going to be things to improve that ability to just sit down and write. Like I said, some of the where it says what references back to other pages there might be. Another thing I'd like to do is put perhaps notes somewhere on here that might say like there's no connection. Perhaps a symbol or an icon that tells you, hey, this section of the story map doesn't have a connection, or this section of the story map doesn't have any text on it. Or like this section doesn't have any references to it. And that way you can see if there's orphan pages or pages you haven't gotten to yet and things like that real easily. And that shouldn't be too hard to add in. So I would expect something like that to come in the next month or so. So thank you for your consideration with IfWriter, and I look forward to the future of this software.